Welcome to a scorching brand hatch, the season opener of the Raceparts Historic 750 Formula. Now in 2018 it sees the biggest grid it's ever had. It caters for Austin 7 and Reliant engine motor cars. The whistle's gone, they're about to go out, so I'll hand you up to Andy McEwen for the rest of the grid.
Thank you very much, Anthony. Here's how they line up for this opening round of the season. Christian Pedersen and Ben Mile on row 1, Greg and Thruston and Martin Depper row 2, ahead of Jonathan Sadler and Trevor Slatter, Nigel Howard and Lyndon Thruston, Mike Whitby and Al Frayling Cork round out the top 10 of what is, as Anthony was alluding to, a record field of 23 cars on the grid for the Raceparts Historic 750 Formula. Lots of onboards that will bring you over the course of the race as well. But we're about to go racing. The red lights go out, away we go. Demon start made further back there by the green machine of Nigel Howard, car number 2, already up alongside Trevor Slatter for 4th there, but I think then as the cars get moving, the slightly lower straight line speed of that car starts to tell. At the head of the field though, Christian Pedersen has converted pole position into the race lead into turn 1. Second place is Mile, third place is Martin Depper, 4th is Trevor Slatter, and then the battle was on there for 5th place with Nigel Howard trying to hang on from the yellow number 23 car of Lyndon Thruston around the outside. But Lyndon, I don't think will be able to take that position away on this occasion. On Martin Depper in the Centaur Mark 14, the Garrel Mark 1 in front of him on Ben Mile, but it's an Austin 7, appropriately enough, that leads the way. Of course, the roots of the 750 Motor Club very much here on show in the historic 750 Formula series. Back in 1939, the 750 Motor Club first began operations, and back in those early days, it was the Austin 7s, the Austin 7 Specials, that were competing in the very first 750 Motor Club competitions. That just goes to show the age that we have with some of the cars out there on track. They are not in the first flush of youth, but as you can see, the racing they can provide is pretty entertaining. There is Martin Depper then, 3rd position, Trevor Slatter in behind him in 4th. These two both in Centaurs, but Martin in the slightly newer Mark 14, Trevor in a Mark 11. Both, well, as all the cars on the grid, are lovingly prepared by their owner drivers, and Trevor, in fact, having a little look at the inside of Martin Depper there as he came out of Druid's Corner. Martin has the inside line for Graham Hill Bend. As they turn their way through the left-hander, Trevor Slatter, can't quite get through on the way in, but these top 4 starting to make a break now, so Christian Pedersen and Ben Mile the leading 2, and then that fight for 3rd we was watching between Martin Depper Trevor Slatter, although Trevor now appears to have disappeared. So he was there behind Martin Depper, but Depper is now turning into clearways on his own, and we're hearing that Trevor has pulled off somewhere down the Cooper Straight. So mechanical issues presumably blighting Trevor Slatter's Centaur Mark 11. With cars of this age, you have to anticipate an element of mechanical vulnerability. But if they do last to the end, they are more than capable of producing some pretty interesting racing. Here comes the battle between, well, number 62 is Jonathan Sadler, and number 2 is Nigel Howard. Nigel actually started 7th, Jonathan 5th, so they've swapped over at some point in the early going. Of course, we saw that really good start from Nigel Howard's lightweight machine. Nigel in the HCS Mark 2, and Jonathan Sadler in the Mark 16 Centaur, one of the newer Centaurs on the grid. Gets a good run out of Druid, but they're now heading down towards Graham Hill Bend, which, yes, is covered by yellow flags. So we have confirmed that is where Trevor Slatter's gone missing, somewhere around Graham Hill Bend on the Cooper Straight. Green flags back out at this part of the circuit. As they make their way up towards the top of the hill. Now, Martin Depper in 3rd place was 2 seconds off pole in qualifying. The top 2, Christian Pedersen and Ben Mile, were only separated by 1/10 of a second, so they were very close together. We expected those two to have close competition. What I didn't necessarily expect was the pace that we're seeing out of Martin Depper, who possibly had some sort of issue with the car in qualifying. He did only complete 12 laps compared to the 14 that Christian Pedersen completed, and he set his fastest lap quite early in the session compared to everybody else. But nonetheless, this is impressive pace that he's showing now, and he's clearly found something between qualifying and this opening race. So we'll see now whether he can do anything about that and start trying to pick up a few extra positions. A bit of traffic in front there that you can see. Christian Pedersen in the yellow car about to dive up the inside of. He does that down in towards Graham Hill Bend. But then, it's a bit slow on the exit of the corner, and Ben Mile sees that and takes full advantage. So Ben Mile takes over the race lead. I don't know what happened there to Christian Pedersen, possibly just couldn't get it in gear or something. He went into Graham Hill Bend, of course, on a tighter line than normal because he was overtaking the back marker, but that doesn't really explain why he was so slow on the exit of the turn. Anyway, whatever the issue was, he has lost out to the race lead, and he now has Martin Depper, tyre smoke and all, trying to find a way through. Whoops, that's a spin. That is Ian Grant in the number 20 car, who's rotated down at Graham Hill Bend in his Austin 7 Pigsty Special. The Austin 7 Cowley Special, unfortunately, Charlie Plain Jones, I can see, has pulled off at the side of the road. This is the number 21 car, and that is Alfred Cork, and he was losing out there to Paul Lawrence in the Demon. And that was a bit of a Demon move around the outside there in towards Clearways. Back with the leaders now. And yeah, Pedersen, having lost that lead, not really falling away. But again, there you see on the exit of Druids, just didn't really seem to accelerate. And so through goes Martin Depper. I think he got that done just before they arrived at the yellow flag zone, which is now out as a result of Ian Grant's stranded car. You can see Ian is out of the car. Ian running within Class A. There are 3 classes racing here this weekend. They are classes C, A, D. It's the Class C cars that we're watching here dicing away at the very front of the field. They are the pre-1974 Formula cars. The Austin 7s are in Class A, and Class D is for historic Formula 3 car and Formula 3 500 cars. We've got 3 of those out here this weekend. It's the Class D cars that are by far the quickest, up to 1994 specification cars allowed in that class. Another car coming to the pit lane, I'm afraid, which I think is Kerry Horan in the Trember Vincent, who has stopped in the pit lane. Race over potentially for Kerry. Oh, look at this as they weave their way through the traffic. That's another car going slowly, unfortunately, and that's Tim Mile in another one of the Austin Pigsties. So unfortunately, a few of these Pigsties starting to have slightly bad days here at Brands Hatch. That's another one that's fallen by the wayside, sadly. There goes Nigel Howard in this race-long duel that he's been having with Jonathan Sadler. They're nose to tail, and they have been pretty much since the drop of the green flag. But is he going to be able to find a way through? That is the question. I think it's Paul Lawrence in the Demon who's closing in on them now as well after his nice moves that he was making out at the far end of the circuit. Out of Graham Hill Bend, back down the Cooper Straight they go. Still, we've got that Ian Grant car parked to the side of the road. May well keep the double wave yellows out for a few laps just until everyone's fully aware that it's there, and then bring them in maybe for the final portion of the race. 13 minutes plus 1 lap, so we anticipate 14 laps of racing, because even with the age of these cars, they're still lapping in the quickest ones in 1 minute flats. Oh, look at that, right out to the edge of the track there for Jonathan Sadler as he tries to make this manoeuvre on Nigel Howard, but then just seems to run out of steam as he arrives towards Paddock Hill Bend, so backs out of the manoeuvre. He turns his way into Paddock Hill Bend again. Plunge downhill there for the green number 2 machine of Nigel Howard. Started down in 7th place, so he made a bit of progress. He was level firm though into the first corner with Martin Depper. That came to nothing in the end. More yellow flags there on the exit of Druids, but there is Martin Depper, 2nd place, chasing down Ben Mile. Ah, no he's not. He's ahead of Ben Mile. So Ben Mile has lost the lead now to Martin Depper out of our sight, but Mile has got in front. So maybe that was in traffic again, because you can see they are going past a fair few back markers there as they come across the start-finish line. Christian Pedersen is just dropping away slightly in 3rd, but Martin Depper has got the race lead away in the Centaur. Now what can Ben Mile do about it? He certainly seems to have speed, so I don't think there's a problem with the car. There certainly isn't a problem with Martin Depper's car, though, because he is running very, very quickly indeed. He's running, actually, all of the leaders running quicker than they were in qualifying. Actually, the pole position time at 1 minute 1.2. The fastest laps in this race are all down in the 1 minute flats or low 1 minute ones. So they are lapping quicker than they were in qualifying. But Martin Depper is lapping some 2, nearly 3 seconds quicker than he was in qualifying, so he has really found something, and what he's found it now is that he's in the race lead as we go into the second half of the race. Already into the second half of the race, in fact, really, a couple of minutes into the second half of the race. Ben Mile, though, not going to give in here. He'll stay with him if he can, and he'll tuck into the slipstream down the pit straight. Now, he could make a move maybe down towards Paddock Hill Bend. He's closing all the time. Of course, Martin Depper is going to defend the inside line, so Mile has to go to the outside. Now, is he brave enough on the brakes to go right round the outside? Or, and this may well be the more sensible option, is he going to try and cut back and get the late apex and carry the speed down the hill? In the end, neither of those things occur, and he ends up sitting in 2nd place again, but he now looks to the inside into Druids. Martin Depper's outbraked himself, and that could allow Ben Mile back through. It does. So Ben Mile back into the race lead. Fantastic stuff this, though. And the lead changing hands a couple of times in this race. We first of all had Mile past Pedersen, then we had Depper past Mile, and now Mile back ahead of Depper again. They're definitely dropping Christian Pedersen though now in third. Even with their dicing, it should really be holding them up. We've got the number 4 car of Simon Gallen in his Austin 7, about to go a lap down. His Class A car. Leader of Class A at the moment, by the way, is Alfred Cork. He's running inside the top 10, so not surprising really that he's the class leader. On board with Martin Depper though, and now he's trying to attack the race leader again. Now it's interesting because on the last lap I'd have said that Miles' car was quicker in a straight line, but on that occasion Depper's looked a bit quicker, so clearly that's just the slipstream that's taking effect, and these cars not the most aerodynamic, so it does have quite the effect. And Depper's had a better run out of Paddock Hill Bend, and he's having a look to the inside in towards Druids. There's another car parked to the side of the road there, I'm afraid, but Martin Depper has gone back through. Now, were there yellow flags out for the car parked to the side of the road? That would be my question. Depper either way is ahead on the road, but the way this race has been going, there's every chance that Mile might be able to find a way back past him anyway. Back down the Cooper Straight, running out of time there now, only a couple of minutes left in this race. Can Ben Mile find a way back ahead? Either way, they're both on for a good start to their season. No championship points to think about with the Raceparts Historic 750 Formula Series. It is a series of races rather than a championship where you score championship points. So you may as well just go out there and have a bit of fun. They put a lap on the Class A leader, that's Alfred Cork. And he gets out of the way, and that maybe has opened up the door, has it, for Ben Mile. He was having a big look to the inside. You can just caught a flash of him in the wing mirrors. Sideways for Martin Depper. That gives Mile a better exit from the corner. Well, this is phenomenal racing. It's just what we wanted to see. We've got a big grid of these cars out here, and they're all putting on a great show. Side by side again through Druids corner. Depper on the outside, Mile on the inside. But Depper will now defend the inside line down towards Graham Hill Bend, will he? You would imagine he would anyway. Yes, he does. Turns his way through. Back along the Cooper Straight. Mile looks a little bit quicker at times, but then Depper looks a bit quicker at other times. Maybe in traffic Depper has the slight edge. That seems to have been where he's been able to take advantage of Ben Mile and get past him. Back through clearways we go. We are definitely getting closer now to the end of the race. Only a few more minutes to go. There's Christian Pedersen in third in his Austin 7. Although I said earlier on the Austin 7s are in Class A, Christian Pedersen's car is not. It's quite clearly a bit quicker than the others. As we're side by side again for the race leader, Ben Mile goes around the outside of Martin Depper into Paddock Hill Bend. Martin holds the inside ground though, and the fact that he's running out to the edge of the track on the exit tells me he's made that move stick. They put a lap on Michael Harvey there in his Austin 7 Ulster. Running third within Class A at the moment is Michael. The position stays as it was, but every time they arrive down at Paddock Hill Bend, it seems they're side by side, these two. Depper turns into Graham Hill Bend. Runs a bit deep though, that could give Mile a chance. What could also give him a chance is this sea of traffic they're closing in on. We've got Kevin Welsh, the next one to go a lap down, but also Mike Peck, Andrew Rayner, Simon Redmond's not that far ahead of them either. That was Kevin Welsh getting out of the way in the number 12 Warren. The return of the Warren, in fact, there it is, making its way through. Supercharged rear engine car with a stacked exhaust that was actually banned after winning the 1973 championship, recently restored by Ron and Kevin, father and son team. Leaders though carving their way through the back marks, and this time Ben Miles got to the inside line into Paddock Hill Bend. Martin Depper can't turn in because the car's on the inside, he's on the dirty side of the road as well, and Ben Mile is going to go through, or is he? Because once again they run side by side towards Druids, and Martin Depper's shown that he's not afraid to run around the outside edge of the track. Through Druids they go, and Ben Mile, can he come across to the racing line? Yes he can, so Mile is back in front. It's the third time these two have swapped over the race lead between themselves, and it may not be the last either, because we've still got at least one more lap after this one. And look at that, Martin Depper's back on the inside, down towards Surtees, wheel to wheel towards the left-hander, and there's traffic in front as well. Who turns in first? It's Depper. Depper back in front. Fantastic racing this is, and Martin Depper is back in the race lead. Now I know we might get another lap. We're actually a little pushed for time. We'll wait and see whether they're greeted by the checkered flag or by the last lap board this time around. Either way, Ben Mile is not giving in. as they go down towards the first corner again. They cross the start-finish line. Martin Depper leads the way. Mile is in second. We're going to get one more lap out of this, which is good news because it's one of those races you don't really want to end. Mile to the outside, trying to get the drive out of the corner now. Can he get the run towards Druids, or is Martin Depper going to do something that, after qualifying this morning, I really didn't think was possible, given the fact that he was 2 seconds slower than Ben Mile was in qualifying? And here he is, really taking the fight to him, more than taking the fight to him. He leads him as they come out of Druids down towards Graham Hill Bend. Into the left-hander now. Don't make any mistakes here. There is some traffic just up the road, but I don't think they're quite going to catch it. That is Paul Lawrence and Mike Whitby doing battle over 7th position. Through Surtees they go, out on towards the main straight for what I think is going to be the final time this time. And Martin Depper, well, he's ahead going into clearaways. He runs a bit wide though, and we've seen the effect that the slipstream has here across the start-finish line. The start-finish line is quite a long way down this straight, so it's possible that Ben Mile can pull out of the slipstream and attack again. Yes, he can. He pulls to the outside line. They come across the start-finish line. The checkered flag is flown, and by 3/100ths of a second, Martin Depper is victorious. What a race that was. Miles second, Pedersen third, from Thruston fourth and Jonathan Sadler fifth, Nigel Howard sixth, ahead of Paul Lawrence, Mike Whitby, Alistair Frayling Cork and Simon Dedman. Then it's Andrew Rayner, Mike Peck, Kevin Welsh, Michael Harvey, Simon Gallen and Richard Verheyden. Class C won by Martin Depper, of course, Class A by Alistair Frayling Cork and Class D by Andrew Rayner. Unfortunately, a fair few of them didn't make it to the finish, but those that did put on a cracking race.
What a result.
Yeah, when I saw the last lap board, all I was thinking in my mind was get every corner right, don't give him an inch, because I know he'll go for it. And I saw him coming up alongside me and I thought, I've just got enough for the line, and I saw his nose at the corner of my eye. And I thought, phew, if it was a bit further on, he would have won the race.
Ben, you started in second, finished in second, but it wasn't that simple, was it?
No, it wasn't. I was in second, and then I was in first, and then I was in second, and then I was in first. It was a really great close race. Lots of scary moments with Martin locking up next to me going into paddock bend, and I was already overcooking it, but it was really good. It's nice to race with guys that you trust.